Welcome guys to another GeoGuessr tips video, and in this one I will be teaching you about Asia. So let's start off with Israel, guys. In Israel, here are a bunch of clues. In Israel you will see this Hebrew script a lot. Also, this stop sign is unique to Israel with a hand on the octagon. That's a good clue. In Israel you will get these yellow plates. There are yellow license plates in Israel with the blue strip on the left side. So they might look similar to the plates of the Netherlands, for example, but usually you will be able to tell the Netherlands and Israel apart, like there are palm trees here and stuff like that. Also in Israel, very good to notice is this long antenna that the Google car has, which sets it apart from other countries like Jordan and UAE. So let's move on to Jordan. So this is Jordan, where as you can see we have this black Google car. In Jordan you will have a black Google car. You will also see Arabic texts around, and also you will have these yellow sidelines with white line in the middle. So you will see those lines in Israel, Jordan and UAE. So these lines are common in all of those three countries. Next one is UAE. In UAE you will also see lots of Arabic texts. The difference from Jordan is that the Google car will be either white or will not be visible at all. Well, in Jordan, as you remember, we had a black Google car. And also in general, UAE will look richer, like cleaner and more well kept than Jordan, as you can see. So that's another clue. Let's visit Kyrgyzstan next. I feel like Kyrgyzstan is one of the easiest countries to tell apart. In Kyrgyzstan, we have these license plates with the red strip on the left side. So that's a very good clue if you see those. Also in Kyrgyzstan they use Cyrillic. That's a good thing to know. The coverage will be from winter, and also you will sometimes see very high mountains. So that's a good clue if you see them, that you might be in Kyrgyzstan. And of course, maybe the biggest clue of them all, the Google car. If you see this Google car with these bars and these kind of edgy mirrors, then you are in Kyrgyzstan. So let's go to Mongolia. As you can see, we have 3 locations here in Mongolia, because there are multiple Google cars possible. So this is the first one, first Google car that you might notice in Mongolia, like colorful side mirrors and these bars with the black in the middle. Also, they use Cyrillic, but in Mongolia you will see a lot of this O letter with this dash in the middle. So if you see that one, I think in Kyrgyzstan you can also see them, but I feel like they are more common in Mongolia. And also the license plates will be more narrow and without that red strip, so you can tell those two countries apart just from the license plates as well. These are the other 2 Google cars, so this is one of them with the camping equipment and these bars visible. And like, yeah, Mongolia can also look like this. These are Mongolian bollards. Good to remember. Again, I'm not talking about bollards in this video that much. If you want to check out my bollard video, I will leave it up in the info card, where I talk more about useful bollards. And also we have this Google car in Kyrgyzstan, also camping equipment, but you can see this snorkel. And yeah, Mongolia can also look like this. Generally, you will not see much of Pakistan and India. If you play only Battle Royale, then you will not see Pakistan at all. But a good way to tell Pakistan apart from India is by looking at people's pants. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like 90% of the time it works. If you cannot decide whether you are in Pakistan or India, have a look at the pants. So in Pakistan, more people will be wearing these baggy pants. As you can see, quite a few people are wearing these pants here. And I will show you guys India location right now. Let's see how many people are wearing baggy pants there. As you can see, way less people. More people are wearing like normal pants. Well, I don't know, normal, not normal, but not baggy pants. So, sounds ridiculous, but like 90% of the time it works. You can also distinguish India and Pakistan by the scripts they use, if you can see the language. In Pakistan you will see Urdu, which looks like this, as you can see on the map. In India you can see variety of scripts. You can see this one, you can see English of course, or you can see, for example, this one as well. I'm sorry, I don't know their exact names, but you can see them here on the map as an example. Let's move on to Sri Lanka now, guys. In Sri Lanka, you will have a broader coverage than in India. In India, mostly just universities are covered or like streets nearby universities. In Sri Lanka, like general roads will be covered. Also, in Sri Lanka, you will see this Google car most of the time. Sometimes you cannot see it, but if you see it, like this blur, the kind of red, white, and blue, as you can see, if you see this blur, there's a high chance you are in Sri Lanka. Also, in Sri Lanka, they're driving on the left side, a yellow license plate, that's a good clue. And also these poles. These poles are a very good clue. If you see them, you might be in Sri Lanka. And also good to know the script, looking like this, lots of curves. So similar to the script that they use in southern India. So yeah, that's good to know as well. Next one is Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, you will generally see two different Google cars. This is one of them. So if you see these colorful side mirrors with these bars and driving on the left side, that's a good indication you are in Bangladesh. And also you will oftentimes see this script. And this is the second car that you might see in Bangladesh. This white car, basically. Just a white car. Also again with this script, with this like horizontal line going all the way through the symbols. Bhutan is one of the easiest countries to tell apart, I think. It has just that unique feel to it. In Bhutan, we're driving on the left side. We have these red license plates, as you can see, and the houses have like a very distinctive architecture. I feel like if you see these houses, it's a very, very good clue that you are in Bhutan. And also in Bhutan, you will see mountains all around you. It's a very mountainous country. Let's move on to Thailand. So, first of all, what sets Thailand apart is the language. In Thai, you will get these very like straight looking letters. In Khmer, what they use in Cambodia, the letters will be more squiggly. So that's a good indication to tell them to both of those apart. Also in Thailand, you will get this yellow line in the middle of the road a lot of the time. So that's a good clue. And also, if you see these concrete blocks making up the road, then you most likely are either in Thailand or Philippines, because they really like these concrete blocks on their roads. Other Asian countries might have these as well, but I just have noticed them way more in Thailand and Philippines. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that if you see these rectangular poles with these little dots on them, that's a good clue you might be in Thailand as well. This is a typical Cambodian location, guys. So this is the car that you oftentimes will see in Cambodia. Not always, but many of the times. So we're driving on the right side here. The plates will be white. That's a good clue how to distinguish it apart from Laos, because in Laos the plates will be yellow. In Cambodia you will often see these stilts on the houses. So if you see those stilts, a lot of them might be Cambodia. Might be other countries as well. It's just more common in Cambodia. Also, the soil will be very red most of the time. Again, not conclusive, but a good clue. What is conclusive is the language and the beers. So this is the Khmer language. As you can see, it is way more squiggly than the Thai, as I showed you guys before. And also this Angkor beer and obviously the Cambodia beer, those beers can be found in Cambodia. And this is Laos, guys. This is Laos. This is the Lao language, I believe. So it looks like this. Kind of similar to Khmer, so might be some difficulties to distinguish those two. But in Laos, you will have yellow plates most of the time. Also driving on the right side, but mostly with yellow plates on the cars and the motorcycles. So that's a good clue. Also in Laos, you might get this car, for example, as in the city of Savanakhet. Sorry for the pronunciation. Yeah, the car looks like this, with these side mirrors, with the Google car bars. You don't get Laos too often, not at all in the Battle Royale, but you might get it in the Diverse World, for example. So yeah, if you see this car, it will not be the capital city, but it might be a smaller city like Savanakhet, or for example this one, Vang Vieng. You get also that car in this city, as you can see. I feel like Vietnam is one of the easiest countries to recognize in Asia as well, because the language is just so unique. You have the Latin letters with these accents all over the place. So none of the other Asian languages look similar to this. Also, Vietnam is covered by motorbikes, so most of the time you will see a helmet. So you see a helmet like this, it's also a good clue that you are in Vietnam. This, my friends, is Malaysia. So how do you tell Malaysia and Indonesia apart? Many people struggle with that. So in both Malaysia and Indonesia, we're driving on the left side. However, Malaysian license plates will have two white sections. As you can see, like two white sections with black in the middle. So these are Malaysian plates. I will show the Indonesian plates in just a second. Also, these are Malaysian bollards. Again, not too much about bollards in this video. In Malaysia, you will see awas a lot of the time. So that's a good word to remember. If you see awas, good clue that you are in Malaysia. And also, if you see these black signs or stickers on the poles, it's a good clue that you might be in the mainland Malaysia. So this one is Indonesia. Let's have a look at the Indonesian plates. As you can see, we have three white sections this time. So 1, 2, and 3, with two of those black in the middle. So 3 white sections Indonesia, 2 white sections Malaysia, most of the time. Of course, there are always some exceptions, but this is like a general rule. Also, good thing to notice is that in Indonesia, many of the motorbikes will have like a blurred out front license plate. And in general, you will see a lot of motorbikes in Indonesia. So that's another good clue. And also in Indonesia, they love to put out their flags. So good to know how Indonesian flag looks like. Singapore just has that unique feel about it. It's one of those countries which you can almost immediately recognize. First clue would be this sign, well, these signs, these green signs with this particular font. You can find those in Singapore. If you see signs in 4 different languages, it's also a good clue that you are in Singapore. Well, lots of these warning signs will be in 4 different languages. Most of the things will be in English only though, so you will see a lot of signs in English. Also on the road, there will be a lot of like writings like hump ahead, crossing ahead, and stuff like that. So that's also a good indication. Let's move on to Philippines. So this car is unique to Philippines. So if you see this car, that is Philippines. Chile can have a similar car, but there are some differences. In Philippines, this white line, white border will be smaller. So that's a good clue to notice. Some of the license plates will have this green tint to them. So if you see this green tint, that's a good clue that you might be in Philippines. Not too many countries can have that green tint. Also, you will see a lot of English or some Filipino sometimes you can see as well. And also this jeepney is a good clue that you are in Philippines. They really like to drive these things. You can get different cars in the Philippines as well. This is one of the other cars that you might get. And also, as I told you guys, these concrete blocks on the roads as well. Good clue that you might be in Philippines. Many people do not know this, but Macau and Hong Kong have coverage. You will not get it in Battle Royale again, but you might get it in Diverse World or other maps created by users. So let's see. This is Macau. In Macau, you only get Generation 2 camera. In both Macau and Hong Kong, you drive on the left side of the road. Well, in China, you drive on the right side. So those two cities have it different. Also, keep in mind, in Macau, you might see the Hong Kong domain names. So you might not rely if you see that domain name. The big difference between Macau and Hong Kong are the license plates. In Macau, you will see mostly these black license plates with white letters on them. As you can see here, most of the license plates are black. I will show you Hong Kong license plates in just a second. The languages that you will usually see is, of course, Chinese and sometimes English as well. And since Macau is well known for gambling, you will see lots of casinos too. So this, my friends, is Hong Kong. Similar to London, we have yellow license plates in the back and white license plates in the front of the vehicles. That's a really good clue. Also, speaking of camera generations, in Hong Kong, you can have 2nd generation camera, 3rd generation camera, and even 4th generation camera. If you don't know what that means, I will leave a video explaining camera generations up there in the info card. What else do we see here? This sign, I don't think I've seen it in Macau. This is like a London style, UK style sign, since Hong Kong was a part of British rule for a long time. That is probably why these signs are common here as well. And of course you will see some mountains around too. Let's have a look at Taiwan as well. In Taiwan you will also of course see Chinese all around. The big difference is that in Taiwan we are driving on the right side of the road instead of the left one. Also these signs, you can see them in Taiwan as well. I haven't noticed them in other countries. Another big clue how to tell Taiwan apart from other Asian countries are these stripes. If you see these stripes going all the way to the ground, they might be either orange or black or yellow and black. It's a very good chance it is Taiwan. So you'll see these a lot in Taiwan. Some of them might not go all the way to the ground. Keep that in mind. There are always some exceptions. I'm just telling you like general rules. As you can see, we have another one here going all the way to the ground. Another one there. Like, yeah, mostly they are going all the way to the ground. Let's go to South Korea now. In South Korea, these stripes look like this. They do not go all the way to the ground. As you can see in Taiwan, they also might not go to the ground sometimes. But in South Korea, that will be most of the times. Also, a good clue about South Korea is the language. Language is very easy to be told apart. Korean language will have lots of these vertical stripes, as you can see. Lots of vertical stripes and lots of these circles. So those are two very good indications that that is Korean language. In South Korea, we are driving on the right side of the road, and the Google car will mostly be black. Sometimes it can be white as well, I believe. And the license plates, we might have some green license plates in South Korea as well. And the last Asian country I want to talk about in this video is Japan. The big thing that sets Japan apart is this low camera. As you can see, the camera is just feels lower than usual, and you will have this wide blur on the Google car. Sometimes you will see the Google car, sometimes it will be blurred out like this, but the blur will be wide. As you can see, it's wider than usual. You sometimes might have this wide blur in Taiwan as well, so keep that in mind, and in Switzerland. Well, Switzerland is in Europe. You can find my Europe tips video up there where I talk about Switzerland separately. In Japan, you will oftentimes see these vertical lines on the poles. It's black and yellow vertical lines. Sometimes they might be diagonal as well, but they will be very narrow if they are diagonal. So that sets Japan apart. The license plates will be white or yellow, as you can see. Japanese language is also quite easy to tell apart. As you can see, we have lots of these like simpler looking letters than Chinese characters. I do think this is a Chinese character, so there will be some Chinese characters in Japanese language. But if you see these simplistic looking letters, that is a very good indication that you are in Japan as well. I hope you found these tips useful. Another GeoGuessr tips video will appear on your screen shortly. Huge thanks to all of the members for supporting this channel. If you want to become a member yourself, click on that join button below this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, be kind to one another, and see you in the next video.